the mainland of Florida, headed up over the Hubert Humphrey Bridge that crosses the Indian River onto Merritt Island. Kind of a overcast day again. It was nice and sunny yesterday, so hope all well turns out. A little bit about Merritt Island. You wouldn't know you were on an island. It's quite large. In fact, the Kennedy Space Center is located on the northern part of the island. As you come down off the bridge, we are officially on Merritt Island. You see a little welcome sign there on the right. And we'll come up to the next traffic light intersection, and that is a junction of Tropical Trail. If I turn right, I head on South Tropical Trail. If I turn left, that begins North Tropical Trail. And today we are going to be traveling down South Tropical Trail. Friends in the UK had requested a driving video. This is probably going to seem like a real rural area compared to the areas that they've been in over there, which are quite congested. Everything you see for the next 19 miles is going to be all residential area. First section, which eventually I'll kind of speed up through the video, will be older houses, been here for 50, 60 years. Of course, architecture back then was different, and people lived in smaller houses. So after we get 5 or 6 miles down the road, you'll start seeing a little bit larger homes and larger parcels of property. I actually used to live in this development here on the right. In fact, I'll just take a quick ride through it. It's called Riverside. Kind of a nice neighborhood. We had our own little boat ramp here on the left. That gave us access back out to the Indian River. If I was to take a guess, price range of houses in here probably in the 150 to 200,000 range. Now these houses straight ahead that are located right on the river will be considerably more. So all the houses on the right beyond the river that you see right here. Being on the water, considered prime real estate, so you're probably looking three to maybe even $400,000 range. But the sole purpose of this little driving trip is just to give our friends in the UK an idea of typical residential areas. Here in Florida anyway, away from the big cities. Okay. Go through the little bumps. We're back on South Tropical Trail, headed south again. I'm not sure if you can quite see on the camera. I guess you can. The Indian River is right alongside the right-hand side of the road here. And what houses you see along the right will be located direct on the river. It's a little elevated in here, so they're in a good spot. They don't have to worry about flooding or anything. I'm going to take another detour off South Tropical Trail on a road called Crooked Mile Road. And it's right around the corner. There's a church, an old church called Georgiana. Quaint little church, very pretty. I think it was established back in the 1800s, the United Methodist Church. And this is the Crooked Mile Road, and it's aptly named that because it's a little crooked and it gets a little narrow. And then here on the right where this white fence is, some people have horses there. Look like it got a riding stable. More of these Australian pine trees. You can see they got the little ones. Yeah, you might be able to see it growing up already. They call them pups, I think. Fortunately, this is not a well-traveled road, so there's not a lot of traffic through here, other than local residents. This whole area off to the left, called the Woods of Crooked Mile, that's a relatively new subdivision built into, probably might be 10 years old. I have my GoPro Hero 4 mounted up on the roof of the vehicle, so people riding and walking along the road here probably think I'm Google Earth or something. There's another little subdivision here on the right. We'll drive in and out of this. It's called Stillwaters. No outlet, it's a dead end, so we'll have to come right back out this way. But you may, between the houses, you'll start seeing on the left on here, you may see some water. And that actually is a lake in here called Honeymoon Lake. And it's a private lake. It does have a small connection to the Indian River. And all these houses, their property line actually goes out to the center of the lake, so half the property is underwater. One house down here, as we go around this little turnabout, been here quite a while, got a round section, looks built like a castle up on the top. And we'll well, that's a big house there. And I know there's one across the lake here that you won't be able to see, but it's extremely huge. You would think it was a hotel. First attempt at this driving video was with my GoPro Hero 4 mounted with the clamp mount that has a little gooseneck on it, and that little gooseneck just gave enough flexibility where the camera was vibrating, shaking a lot every time I hit a little bump or something in the road. So then I made this trip again with my GoPro on a head strap mount, and that really didn't work out well for me either. So this video is being recorded with my new Sony FDR AX100. I have it just setting on some blankets and a little piece of carpet on my dashboard here while I have my GoPro up on my roof. But this has the built-in image stabilization. I did a test run yesterday and it seems to be working fairly well. It's ironing out a lot of the bumps and stuff that we go through. However, my test mode, I had my air conditioning running, so I had all that background noise of the blower. So I've had to turn that off today. Hopefully it's a lot quieter. Now we're looking at the Banana River. You see a very short distance. And if you can see on the horizon over there, that's basically the Berry Islands. And that would be town of Cocoa Beach, which is well known for the TV series I Dream of Jeannie. And that will have to be another driving video, because even this video is going to be quite long and I'll have to condense it as much as possible. All this used to be orange groves all down through here. In fact, this area here we'll drive into, Honeymoon Hill, was all orange groves up until maybe 5-6 years ago at most. And they've erected some really upscale houses in here. In fact, there's another one under construction right straight ahead. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but these houses on the left are on the shore of the Honeymoon Lake. I'm not sure how big the lake is. If I had to take a guess, I might say 15 or 20 acres in size. If you do a search on Google Earth on Merritt Island, down towards the south portion of it, you'll see the lake will show up. One thing I learned making these turns, if you go too fast, it gets really blurry in the video. So I'll try and make my turns as slow as reasonably possible. Got a little water retention pond there on the right that's required when they start building these new construction. And somehow get little alligators, we'll find them and all of a sudden show up and they'll be residing in there. And again, the water you see off to the left, that is the Banana River. So we're kind of on the left side of the island, so headed south. And the further south we get, the narrower the island gets. Now here's another area where that car ahead of us is turning in. It's called Hacienda del Sol Estates. And we'll just take a little drive through there. This all used to be one parcel of property called the Hacienda del Sol. And straight ahead, as when we get down to the curve, this large, long white wall is the old hacienda. And all these houses in here will be 1 acre lots. But that hacienda, and peacocks in here too. The hacienda, I think, is 6 or 7 acres. Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's, had a contract on this property. I believe he had a couple other partners, and they were going to make it into a kind of a private resort golf course area. Man, a lot of traffic in here today. This time of year, the peacocks are quite vocal, as getting into their mating season, and people drive in here and feed them. If I stop the car, the peacocks will come right up to your car expecting a handout. The houses in here are definitely in the 6-figure bracket, with a few of them in the getting into the 7 figures. Now ahead, we are on the south end of that Honeymoon Lake. The house for sale has a mother-in-law suite with it. If you want your mother-in-law living with you. I see this property on the right about to be cleared for construction of a new house. Oh, I just missed it. There was a peacock over here all fanned out. One across. They think they own the place. And they don't really want to move. Oh, there, I wonder where that one went. This house across that field is a huge house. You can just see it up there in the hill. Like, I think some doctor probably owns it. Let me get down here and turn around. We'll see if I can get a picture of this. Boy, that's a ratty looking peacock. Got like half its feathers broken. You can just kind of see him down there. He turns around to us. Wind it down, maybe one of them will start screaming. This is mating season. There, you can hear him. They just run wild. See any more or not. Another one here off the left near that little retaining wall. Like somebody's getting some new landscape work. Oh, they're having lunch. And it is 11:57, so I guess noontime. It's time to eat. The sun's peeking out a little bit. Maybe the day will brighten up some. Again, we're back facing the Banana River. It's quite shallow out there. I bet you could walk out there 300-400 yards and water be just barely maybe up around your knees. But this whole area down through here is supposed to be some of the best redfish fishing in the United States. We got one more little side trip we'll just take right down here. This is a subdivision titled Egret's Cove. We'll go in and do the loop through that, and then we'll head straight to the end of the island. This area through here got created quite a few years ago. I would say at least 30, if not maybe 40 years ago, and never really took off like they wanted it to. Not sure why. It's a nice community, nice homes, and here at the end of the street they have their own little private boat ramp and like a marina where everybody can put their boats and have access to the Indian River. So you can kind of gives you an idea how narrow the island is right here. We just went from river to river. Now directly as we go out across the Banana River is the Patrick Air Force Base. So they do get some air traffic at times directly over this area, and that may have discouraged some people from moving in here. Actually, my dentist lives in here. That's why I know about the place. Now, as we get down to the stop sign here, I'll point something out across the street, and I will come back and insert a little video clip of some banana plants. And that's those tall plants you see above the brush there, and there are bananas growing on them. And I will come back and post you some video of what wild bananas look like. Alright, I grabbed my little GoPro here, and we're going to take a little bit closer look here. There's the green bananas you can see on the stalk, and these are wild banana plants. Now that purple little, they call it a flower, you see on the end of it there, that's kind of like the bud. Now what I understand, and I have never done it before, is some people will take that flower and peel those red leaves off and cut them up and put them in a salad. I have absolutely no idea what they taste like, but whether they got a banana flavor to them or not. Now these bananas, like I say, are green now, and that's like that stalk. You won't see any more than that. That'll be the maximum you'll see on there. And these aren't like the bananas you see in the supermarket, which are huge. They're smaller, but they still taste like bananas. And my understanding is once they produce a stalk of bananas, then you have to basically cut the plant down, and more little ones sprout up around it, and they just keep propagating. So that's our wild banana plant. All right. Speed limit's 45, so I can't hustle too fast down through here, and it's a narrow road, so that's about appropriate speed limit. If I get here a little further down, they drop it down to 30 where it gets a little bit more congested, closer to the homes. I'm doing 35 right now. And this next sign will probably warn me that I'm exceeding 30. Yep. Alright, I'll slow down. Alright. I wonder how fast I'm going exactly 30 miles an hour. Kind of a pretty area, almost like you're driving through a tunnel with all the canopy of the trees overhanging the road. Now, shortly down here, we're going to be going under an overpass, and this is they call it a causeway, the road that connects the mainland to Merritt Island, and then on over to the Barrier Island, which would be cities of Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach, Cocoa Beach. And we will continue south, still on South Tropical Trail. And this is the causeway. It's called the Pineda, Route 404. And if we turn left here, we could go over to the Patrick Air Force Base. There's more of these large Australian pine trees. This whole road we've been on, you might notice it has double yellow lines. That indicates no passing. So when you have people on bicycles, you don't have any choice, and that's allowed. A lot of the old houses that have been down through here are being bought off, and people are coming in and building extremely high-end homes. Property that you could purchase back in the early 70s for $40,000, probably going for $500,000 or $600,000 now. Now that's the Indian River on the right. I'll show you how narrow it is. Go in here, and right ahead is the Banana River. So you can see how narrow the island is here, and new construction going on. And all those houses directly across the river there is two subdivisions called Tortoise Island, and then there's a place called Lansing Island. And there's not a single house in there that's under $1 million in price. These houses in here wouldn't be in that price range, but they would be closer to that than they would 100,000. And we get down these next few miles. There's probably not a house down here under 7 figures. Primarily because of the location. And because the island is so narrow, it's pretty much all these houses now own river to river. You can't drive to the very tip of the island. We'll be having to get off probably about a third to half a mile from the end of the island. And there's a bridge down here called Matthews Bridge. They call it a drawbridge, but it's not really a drawbridge. It's a turnstile. It rotates in the center. And I can remember being here when it was a wooden bridge. They've since rebuilt it. More modern now. But they have walkways on both sides, and a lot of people come down and fish off it. They can't fish off the portion that rotates, but they can fish off the ramps going to it. Again, you got the Indian River on the right. And if you can even see the high-rise bridge off in the distance on the right, that goes over to a small town called O'Galley, and then Melbourne, Florida. And out of Melbourne, Florida, there's a route called 192, which will actually take you directly to Disney World, over through towns of St. Cloud and Kissimmee. The place here on the left is still like an old grove. It's avocados and mangoes. Because real estate's so expensive, taxes are quite high. So people like that will keep those orange groves there to maintain an agricultural tax rating. So they're paying taxes on farmland rather than residential real estate. Makes a big difference. Of course, they have to sell them and show that they're making a profit, that it's an actual business. And you can see the road's much narrower here. And they call them speed bumps. Keep the traffic down. There's one or two of the older homes still here. The real estate that they're sitting on, they probably value double or triple what the value of the house is. And it's usually owned by people that have probably been here 40 or 50 years. Have no desire to move. Oh, now we got somebody jogging. several serious bumps here. Now these houses on the left are literally setting on the water on the backside, and then we have the water here on the right. I bet they don't have 20 or 30 feet of property behind these houses. But the water along through there on the left especially is deep water, so very desirable, especially people that might have sailboats or larger boats that need the deeper water. Okay, we're coming to the end. And just here on the corner on the left used to be a restaurant where you could come down and be able to sit out on a dock and or a porch area and enjoy the sights, but it's been long gone and never been rebuilt. Probably environmental issues. One thing, they didn't have room for parking. Okay. Now we're heading on to the bridge. You can see that nobody's here fishing today. You got a marina on the right and a private marina off to the left. You can't probably see. Belong to the condominiums. And this is the turnstile bridge. What it does, it rotates right here in the center. Man up there in the tower, he keeps an eye open for the boat and he controls it. And that bridge will rotate 90 degrees so the taller boats can pass. So that is Merritt Island. We are off the Merritt Island, actually on the barrier island now, called Indian Harbor Beach. That concludes our trip. I may be able to go down and just video a little bit of the island if I can get close to it. So with that, I hope you've enjoyed this little ride with me today. We're off the island now, and we're on the causeway that connects the mainland with the barrier islands. It goes over the town of Allgalley. This is the very tip of the island, Merritt Island. Off to the left is the Indian River, off to the right is the Banana River, and this is where they come together. That structure you see on the end, kind of a pale green blob, that used to be a huge concrete dragon. One of the previous owners of Scenic built this big steel structure and made a dragon out of it. That there is a bridge that we just come across, the turnstile bridge. And what I understand, this property has changed hands several times, been in court or real estate battles and stuff. And now a new owner has purchased it. And they'll be tearing that old house down. And whether he decides to rebuild the dragon, which they aptly named Dragon Annie or something like that, that'll be yet to be seen. So this has been our kind of a long, apologize for the long video, but this has been our trip down the southern portion of Merritt Island. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you'd like to come and visit someday.